When was the last time you saw your mom cry? My mom's always been tough as nails. Single parent, worked 2 jobs, never complained about anything. She'd deal with my teenage attitude, bills piling up, and whatever drama I threw at her without even blinking. I honestly couldn't remember ever seeing her cry, not even at my grandpa's funeral. I was 14, pretty good kid mostly. Quiet, did okay in school, stayed out of trouble. So when Miss Rodriguez called my mom asking her to come in for a meeting about something I wrote in English class, neither of us thought it was a big deal. Maybe they wanted to put me in honors or something. But when my mom got to school the next morning, the principal was there too. I was already sitting in the office, face red, staring at my shoes. My teacher handed my mom this thick packet of papers. "This is Katie's writing journal," she said. "We need you to see what she's been writing." My mom opened it up and started reading. The first few pages were normal stuff, like poems about winter and a story about a dog. But then she got to the weird ones. Stories about a little girl who hides crackers under her bed because someone else might eat all the food. Another one about turning the shower on really loud so nobody could hear crying. Random stuff that didn't make sense. Then she found the letter, the one I never meant anyone to see. It was addressed to her, but I never gave it to her. I just wrote it and left it in my journal like all the other assignments. It said things like, "I don't know how to tell you what Rick does when you go to work." Rick was her boyfriend who'd moved in 6 months ago. The letter talked about how he'd come into my room at night when she was at her second job. How he told me she'd never believe me if I said anything. How he said if I told anyone, he'd make sure we lost our apartment. I wrote about missing how my mom used to hug me goodnight, but now she was always too tired or Rick was always around. How I felt like I was disappearing and she couldn't even see me anymore. My mom read the whole thing without saying a word. She just sat there, flipping through page after page, reading about all the stuff I couldn't say out loud. The principal and teacher were talking, explaining how they were required to report this, but I could tell my mom wasn't really listening. When she finished reading, she handed the journal back to Miss Rodriguez and stood up real slow. She looked at me for a second, then at the adults, then just walked out of the room without saying anything. I followed her to the parking lot. She got in the car but didn't start it, just sat there gripping the steering wheel, staring straight ahead. That's when she said, "I'm so sorry, baby." And then she just broke down, full-on sobbing, the kind where you can't catch your breath. I'd never seen her cry before, and it scared me more than anything Rick had ever done. This woman who could handle anything, who never let anything break her, was falling apart right there in the school parking lot. She cried for maybe 10 minutes, then wiped her face and looked at me. "We're not going home," she said. "Get your stuff from your locker. We're leaving." We drove to a motel across town. My mom called her boss and told them she wasn't coming in. Then she called the police. When they showed up, she handed them my journal and told them everything. Rick got arrested 2 days later. Found out he had warrants in another state too. My mom quit her night job so she could be home more. We moved to a different apartment a month later. The crazy part was, she never once asked me why I didn't tell her. She just kept saying she was sorry for not seeing it, for not protecting me, for bringing him into our house. Like it was her fault instead of his. That was 3 years ago. My mom still doesn't cry much, but now when she hugs me goodnight, she holds on a little longer.